We are live. Anthony Parasini, how are you?
What is up? I'm live. How are you, Bernice?
I am well. I am well this Thursday morning in Australia. How are you going?
Good, good. It's the afternoon here. Lots going on. Obviously, what is it? Tomorrow is 2 weeks out from Worlds. So
Crazy.
that's exciting. It's getting.
I've got us on just to check for everyone that we are definitely connected and you can hear us in the background there.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it's, it's exciting. There's only 2 weeks left until the World Championships. Everybody's going to converge on Chicago.
Can't believe it's yeah, I actually can't believe it's only 2 weeks away until we will know our new world champions.
Yeah, that is true. Um, so today, guys, just gonna talk about a little bit what we got coming on. We don't have a special guest this week, which is absolutely okay. Because hopefully Bernice and I fill your cups enough. Uh,
I hope
so
so.
we're gonna talk a little bit about Hyrox Bangkok that happened this weekend. I wanted to bring up something that was going on in the ultra world. Prize money was announced for the individual relay and doubles, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We're gonna preview some of the Elite 15 field, just because I broke down some of their ages and everything, and then um, we're gonna look at the upcoming races this weekend and
Sounds
any
good.
people to watch.
There's still a lot going on. And Anthony, within the Hyrox races, um, the ability to qualify for the age groups, that's now finished, isn't it? Or was it the Bangkok race? I think might have been the most recent one.
I actually don't know, so I
Yeah.
don't know if the age groups here. You chat and let me see if I can look that up.
Yeah. I think I had heard it was Bangkok. Um, I mean, it would make sense. If not, it could have actually even been earlier, because, qualifying in Bangkok, it only gives you 2 weeks to get to the other side of the world if you actually live in Bangkok or live near there. So that would probably make sense. Um,
But
but I have, yeah.
there's four events going on this weekend. I actually think what it is, I think that all the way up through this weekend, if you get a qualifying spot, you have the option to defer it to next season,
Mhm.
but you could still qualify this season possibly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. That I have heard that some people have that option, which, look, I guess that makes sense because it is not really giving people a heap of time to get their way over to Chicago.
Yeah. Um, okay. And we also had more relay teams announced, so we can go talk
Mhm.
about those today as well. Uh, while we also want to look at some of the doubles, just storylines, things that are going on in that one that will keep going. So, just to start with, kind of interesting in Bangkok, first race over there in Thailand. The top three men, and I only looked at the top three men, and the top four women, uh, with the exception of the third place man that we'll get to. So the top two men and the top four women all hit a PR racing in Bangkok.
Mhm.
The third place man, Pierre Algrit, got a 63:45, but he ran his PR last weekend in Incheon. So he raced on back to back weekends. So interesting there, but congratulations to Gabe Heck, who was the winner of Hyrox Bangkok, the first one in Thailand. He got a 56:47, which is a 35-second PR. Michael Lug got a 59:30. Oh, wait, his PR is 58:23, so it was not a PR for him. Um, he also ran a 59:10 in Mumbai at the beginning of May. So this month alone, he's ran two races under 60. So great job to him. And Pierre Algrit came in third with a 63:45. On the women's side, you had Josie Hull, who finished with a 64:56. Um, Previous PR was actually 75:14 from Paris. Marie McGinley finished 68:17. She raced in Nice last year where she had her PR. And Claire Chung got a 69:35 where she raced previously as a 74:10. And then Danielle Crew came in fourth with a 70:24. Previous PR 70:33. So a couple seconds there. It's always nice when you do 70 minutes of work to get a 10-second PR.
Definitely is.
Uh,
So, Anthony, question for you. With all these PRs, does that make Bangkok a so-called fast course?
First race there, you never know. Conditions are different. I'm
Yeah,
sure it was 8.7 meters, and I'm sure all the stations were in order.
agree.
So, um, just really cool though to have the first race there in Thailand, and I think that it's actually really. I only heard positive things about it as far as the event goes and the community that was there and everything that was going on. So, really some great stuff out of Thailand for their first event, and it's really cool that we see these first events coming up and how big this is getting because we're coming up to not this weekend, but the following weekend, which is the weekend before Worlds, basically is the first weekend since January where there's not going to be a Hyrox race.
Yeah, wow.
That's
And then I know we've talked about it before. After Worlds, I think there's what, like a one, maybe a 2 week break of no
there,
Hyrox race.
there's one weekend break and then there's Singapore two
Singapore,
weeks
and then
after
there's
Worlds.
Sydney. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing just to think. I mean, for everyone watching, we're keen to potentially have some people actually who work for Hyrox, I won't mention their names, jump on soon. So we're just in talks with them, but it will be great to hear, I think, what their plans are. I mean, I don't know about you, Anthony, but I've heard the athlete numbers alone are projected to double again for next season.
Yeah, I didn't see what the athlete numbers are, but they already announced that they crossed the 500,000 mark by the time Worlds happens. It'll be over 550,000 people will have raced the Hyrox this season.
Crazy.
And going into the next one, I know they projected big growth. I don't know if it'll happen in the 2025-2026 season, but I did hear that the target in the 26-27 season was 1 million people racing.
Wow. I'm sure they'll hit it.
So just absolutely insane the amount of growth this sport has seen and like the directions that they are trying to go in too, where they're legitimizing the sport. They're getting so much going on that it's becoming a big deal. Like I don't know if you saw, but they on their YouTube channel they have a uh, if you go to Hyrox World YouTube, you
Mhm.
can elect. Let me make sure I do this right before I say it, because otherwise I don't want to spread bad info here. But yeah, sorry guys, just 1 second. Let me make sure it's coming up. They already put out on their YouTube channel that how you can be notified of upcoming live things.
Yeah.
So if you want to be notified of upcoming live things, they have a notification for a press conference of the Hyrox Elite 15 Chicago 2025 World Championships the day before. So in Pacific time, it's 2 p.m. on June 11th. So they'll have a press conference, which would interfere with our normal live.
I was
They're
just
calling
thinking
it
that.
day zero. So we
Mm.
might want to change up the time we go live or change up that weekend. So 2 weeks from now. Day one, they already have up, so you can have notifications on for the Hyrox Elite 15 singles. They have notifications on for the Mixed Relay Invitational and for the Pro Doubles. So they're going to live stream all three of these awesome events.
I mean, that'll be great. I wonder with the press conference, I mean, do you have any insights, Anthony, into what that will entail? Will only certain athletes be asked to be involved in that? I can't imagine they're going to have all 30, for example, Elite 15 athletes a part of the press conference, but I could be wrong.
No, I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be yet, so we'll let them announce that. But it's
Yeah,
I don't think all 30. I think it'll just be a little round table. I have to move away from the screen here for a minute, so if you want to keep chatting.
no worries. I'll keep chatting. No, that'll be good. I think Anthony and I might try and potentially do our live show after the press conference so we can talk about what was discussed. But I think all in all, it just shows how Hyrox is becoming more and more of a professional sport, holding press conferences before the actual main event. And no, that'll be super exciting. So a little bit more that I know Anthony wants to jump into this backyard ultra world where these two young men ran for 56 hours. So I'll let him to speak to that. And we also just want to talk about the prize money today, which was recently announced. So there was some across the board, mainly increases, actually predominantly increases from last year, which was great to see. But interesting kind of reading the comments if anyone else has that some people still think it's not enough money for prize money, which I guess when you compare it to other sports, maybe they're right. But I think we also have to remember how new of a sport Hyrox is. So look, we'll get into all of that in terms of the prize monies for the individuals, for the relays, for the doubles. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'd love to be related to someone who might actually potentially win. That would be a dream. No pressure, JK. Uh, and then we really want to kind of dive into just previewing the whole entire Elite 15 field. As Anthony mentioned, he's done a little bit of work behind the scenes just to find out some average ages. There was also a great article by Greg from Rock's Life, who I believe he surveyed all of the athletes and got a lot of information in terms of their average ages, their average heights. I actually found that quite interesting. So you can jump on there to Greg's Instagram and have a little look in terms of who's the shortest and who's the tallest athletes across both the male and females. Quite interesting. And what else are we going to kind of talk about? I mean, look, we really kind of want to just dive into Worlds, I guess, with it only being 2 weeks away. I was just mentioning, Anthony, that we just kind of want to do a dive into the World Championships and the ages that you kind of did the spread out here. So I think that will be interesting to talk to. But I kind of mentioned this backyard ultra world. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so it was really neat. If anybody follows along, I'm sure that people know who Nick Bear is. He's done a Hyrox, BPN supplements, all that stuff. Uh, so he put on in his uh, backyard or his
Hmm.
ranch that he lives on. He built a course in Texas there, and he put on something called the G1M Ultra. Basically, what it was is that you had to run 4.2 miles every hour on the hour until there was only one person left standing. So I think 100 people started, I believe, and people just would run every hour. People made it 24 hours, 25 hours, 26 hours. But the winners, two young guys, they ran for 56 hours. 56 hours, 235 miles by doing 4.2 miles every hour on the hour, which is 6,759 meters every hour until there was no one else left. They were over 100 miles further than the third place person. These guys kept battling over and over and over again. And it was like hour 55. One of the guys sat down in the middle of the course and accidentally fell asleep and had to took a quick power nap, woke up and had to run harder to finish the 4.2 miles in time,
Wow.
and ended up catching the other guy. They kept going, and you're supposed to go until there's only one person that wins. Everybody else is a DNF, right?
Okay.
Um, well, at hour 57, there was a severe thunderstorm with flooding that wiped out portions of the trail they were running on. And for the immediate safety of all the people watching and the runners and everything, they evacuated everyone from the area, halted it, and brought them into like barns and stuff to get out of this like super bad weather. Uh, and at that point, there was no restarting. You're not going to restart after the hour or 2 hour break. So they just asked them, and they declared both these guys that they both win. So they shared the victory.
I'm just
But
looking up here. I mean, is that because I know that this event has been run before, like across like globally. I'm just looking at what the actual
I mean,
record
there's
is.
backyard ultras. I think this was the first year of this specific one, but
Right.
there's backyard ultras all over that happen. Um, I think one of the guys that won, I think it was Kim and Stewart, and I think one of them had actually won. What's the what's the hardcore Navy SEAL guy's name that lost a lot of weight? That
Oh, oh my gosh, why can't I can hear his voice in my head. David
Yeah,
Goggins.
David
Yeah,
Goggins. I
yeah,
think he puts one on, and I believe one of these kids won his race that he put
right.
on, the backyard ultra.
Okay. Because when I Google it here, it's got that the record was a distance of 483 miles. They don't actually have it in terms of this record-breaking run took approximately 116 hours.
Yeah. So somebody
That's
went on for
crazy.
like 5 days.
That
So
is
these guys,
crazy.
yeah, they got evacuated at 2.5 days, but 56 hours. Could you imagine? I mean, not 2.5. It was 2 days and 8 hours. But could you imagine? You have to run 4.2 miles every hour, so you don't go to sleep. Like you're awake
Yeah.
for all that time.
And I guess for those watching or listening, 4.2 miles is equivalent to about 6.7 kilometers for us Aussies. Anthony, a question for you: out of the elite, who do you think, is there anyone who do you think could even get close to that type of record?
I don't know. I mean, that's such a different type of stimulus. Like 56
Mm,
hours. I think the hardest part for a lot of them would be like staying awake. So, somebody that's been in that situation before and through that type of thing, that's like probably some military training stuff that keeps them awake that long to say, go do this for that duration.
yeah, I feel like it's such a mindset thing that more than the actual physical element itself as well. To
Yeah.
again, like you say, actually stay awake.
Yeah. Like you just burn up. Like I mean, 4.2 miles, like it doesn't seem that bad, but
Yeah,
that that's really the enduro challenge portion of it, right? So that is endurance means to endure. Well, these guys definitely endured.
I'd love to know what time they were kind of running that 4.2 miles in, at the beginning. Did they start super slow as anyway?
Yeah, so they were
Or
I mean I don't think they were going that fast. It was probably like 40 minutes, 35 to
yeah.
40 minutes for the first few laps. By one of the laps I saw, I believe I watched the 55th hour, um, where the guy fell asleep and then woke up and ran up to him. Um, they finished it with like 4 or 5 minutes left. So it was taking them 55 minutes, 55, 56 minutes to finish that round.
Oh, that's crazy. I know David Goggins does a challenge himself. Oh, I'm probably going to butcher it. I'd have to look it up, but it's something that, you could just do yourself at home. Actually, you know what? Maybe it's something similar to this. It probably is. I feel like it is something, but actually, no, I thought it was something every 4 hours. Anyway, I'd have to look it up, but I know there is crazy David Goggins challenge that he encourages people to do where it's running a certain number of kilometers. I think it was every 4 hours, um, rather than an actual event. So
Yeah,
let's see
that's
who's the toughest.
yeah. So I just want to give them both a shout out. So if anybody wants to go find these guys and follow them, it's Kim Gottwald. So if you go on Instagram, it's at Kim.Gottwald. Um, I mean, he has 145,000 followers. And the other one is Kendall, uh, and it's at Kendall, KENDALL PFX.
Mhm.
So I'd say both these guys, like, they just really put on a show. And super amazing guys if you want to go take a look at them. But yeah, that's awesome. The
Yeah.
375 kilometers in 56 hours.
I don't know if you could pay me to do that.
I mean that
Speaking of money, let's get into
speaking
this
yeah, so
prize money.
let's get into this prize money that they announced. So again, for I believe it's the seventh year in a row, the total prize purse has increased
Hmm.
for Hyrox. The total prize purse is $99,500 per gender for a total of $199,000 for the individuals. Great prize purse. So we're looking at, I'm just going to read through them first. So first place is $30,000. Second place is 20,000. Third is 12. Fourth is 7. Fifth is 6. Sixth is 4. 7 is 3,000. Eighth through 10th is 2,500. And then 11th through 15th is $2,000.
And we should mention, Anthony, that is in USD.
Yes, that is in
So, for
United States.
example, first place, 47, yeah, anyone listening, watching who's Australian, that's 47,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah. And then just to show you the increases, the difference year over year is pretty impressive. The 2024 prize money was $25,000 for first and 14,000 for second and 8.5 for third, which means
Hmm.
the increase, and they're closing the gap too between first and second, which is great because with how tight some of these races are. The difference, first place went up $5,000. Second place gets an increase of $6,000, and third place got an increase of 3,500. And then all of them go down between 500 and $2,000 from there. But the difference means that there's $24,500 increased per gender in the prize pool for the individuals this year, um,
Yep.
which is really neat. Like, I really do think the prize money will get more eyes on the sport, more talent coming in. And it's not like they made this like super steep jump. Like they are showing incremental steps, which
Hmm.
um, is confidence and growth, I think, in the sport and how they're highlighting these athletes. And this isn't the only prize money because they spread the prize money. It's not like, just for example, it's not like CrossFit where there's one event that has all the prize money from the whole year. This is the accumulation of 5 events because there's been
Yeah,
4 other events that all had significant prize money at them as well. Um, so to have this one event, or instead of being one singular event, it's almost like it is a series type of thing with this as the pinnacle.
definitely. I found it interesting, Anthony, that I was reading just kind of briefly some of the comments on Hyrox's post, and there are some people who still don't think that this is enough money for this year of Hyrox. And anyone who's watching live, throw in the comments what you think. I mean, personally, my opinion is that we have to remember what a new sport Hyrox is. I think that this type of prize money is actually quite good for a sport that, I mean, the sport's been around since what, 2017, but I think you even noted the other day this is what, only the fourth or fifth world championships. Like it's still a very new sport, and they're offering out this kind of prize money.
Yeah, so let me try to think here. The Just in reference, this is year 7, right? So I believe this is World Championships number 7. Let me think here. 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 23, 24, 25. So year 7 in
Okay.
terms of the World Championships. Um, I don't remember what it was in year 1, what the prize money was, but I think year 2 in 2020, I think first place got $2,500. Um, and
Probably better
so
now.
a little bit better now. If I remember, we thought it was really big in 2022 in Vegas when first
Hmm.
place was $16,000.
Hmm.
Um,
And you're almost doubling that now.
yep. And then in 2023, first place was uh, $19,000. And then
Yeah.
in 2024, it was 25, and now it's 30. So not only is it like increasing more steadily, it's like more rapid increases. So the last 2 years has been, it was 6,000 then 5,000, but second place went from, I believe, a 5,000 to a 6,000. So like they still have the 11,000 increase over the last 2 years between first and second place, as well as all the rest are getting paid. Like basically qualifying for the Elite 15 now, you get, or in the World Championships, you get $2,000.
Yeah, which is great. I like that we're still seeing, even the athletes who might be coming into that lower pack, getting a little bit something at the end of the race. And on a personal note, Anthony, what's really convenient for me is my brother owes me about 30 grand, 30 grand. So I'm really
Oh,
looking forward
so
to,
perfect.
I really
Tell him
hope you're listening to that.
if he doesn't win and pay right away, then there's going to be interest on it, and so it'll be
Absolutely.
the interest will compound as well until you reach next year.
Absolutely. Surely he wants to provide a, college education for his niece,
Yeah.
future niece.
Uh, and what's really neat is so we talked about the total prize purse here, like it's $199,000. That's just for the individuals. You
Yep.
have another $103,000 split up between the relay and the doubles. So this is going to be the second year of the the mixed relay invitational, where people get to represent their countries. And you have your first place at 16,000, which would be 4,000 per team member. Second place is 10. Third place is 8. Fourth place is 5. And fifth place is 2. So this year they're paying all the way down to fifth place. And so this one has a great increase of $21,000 uh, over the year. So last year, the prize money in 2024 was only $20,000 for first place. And
Hmm.
then it was like first or nothing, right? And now they doubled the amount of prize money, more than doubled the amount of prize money in this event alone, and then spread it out to the top 5 teams.
Yeah. I think that
Um,
makes more sense than, so I guess for context, the relay first place is the only prize money that has decreased this year. But I think looking at that, it's for a very good reason. It's to spread it out amongst the pool. You're still earning in first place relay $6,000 more than second place.
yeah, I mean, and you look at it per team member, so it's instead
Yeah.
of 5,000 per team member, which is what 20,000 would have been, it's 4,000 per team member now, and that's great. Like I think they had $41,000. They split it amongst these groups, and I think it's a great that it shows the growth as well,
Oh,
because
definitely.
in the confidence they went from a single pool all the way to a more confident pool
Hmm.
of people. Uh, and I think people learned from last year that, hey, maybe like these specialists are good, but you really do need your Hyrox or your hybrid athlete to be the one doing the race for you to see victory.
Yeah. Oh, that means they're rich Aussies.
What's that?
There's going to be some rich Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, second place, $2,500 a piece is great for them.
I knew you were going to say that.
Uh, and then moving on from the relay, you have the doubles prize money, and this like blew me away because so there's two divisions, right? Male and female doubles. Um, they're paying out to fifth place, and they're paying quite significantly out
Mm,
to fifth place for both divisions in the first year of the World Championships for this. Like there hasn't been one of these before. It's untested, unproven. I believe that the highlight for them is absolutely on the individuals, and they like to pump up the individuals, and the doubles I always feel like is like for the community. So the community is the one that gets really excited about these doubles races. We get really excited to see more people we know. We get to see the extension of people that were that 16th to 40th slots find a way into an elite race with doubles, and you get to see the elite 15 athletes take on their second or third race of the weekend. So really cool, and they're paying out pretty big for it for what's essentially just like going to be an awesome race now. I mean, it was going to be before, but now like to know that they get a race for first place is $6,000 for each team member. Second place 10,000, third 5, fourth 3, and fifth 1,000. So $31,000 split among two genders, 62,000 total. I and I mean it makes sense to me that it's not the same as the relay since it's year one. This is year one of
Yep.
the doubles. It's an untested, unproven commodity, but I think it can absolutely grow. And just it's right, it's close to the relay, and it's got more in its first year than the relay per gender. I mean, overall, it's even valued higher than the relay because it's $62,000 total uh, among the two groups.
Mm. No, it makes sense to me as well because, like you say, it's the first time. I'm actually surprised at how high the money is for the doubles. Yeah, to be honest, I'm surprised at how high it is.
Yeah, I honestly, I'd talked to someone before, and they had asked me, "Oh, what do you think the doubles are going to be?" And I was like, "They're probably going to pay to third, maybe 10,000 for first." And this is way and above that. They're paying to fifth, and they got 12,000 for first.
Hmm.
So just fantastic that they're showing confidence in the product.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely are. And I mean, who knows what it'll pay next year, say for the elite doubles. I'm sure it's going to be a spectacle this year. I'd be shocked if they didn't do it again next season. So we're only going to see all of these numbers increase.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you see the relay grow from year one to year
Mm,
two, and I mean, it doubled in the prize money. I could absolutely see the doubles, if doubling or at least extending further down for the prize money. And it's really going to be about the amount of support that the doubles sees at Worlds will like inform Hyrox. Oh, this could be a really big product or something. You have to like, if they don't see the support, they don't see the watching and the eyes on it, then they probably will pull away from it versus leaning into it. So
yeah,
the more the community can get in and wrap around the doubles, I think that it will only allow growth going forward.
definitely. I was just going to quickly try and work out, Anthony, if someone was to take out the trifecta that you and I have spoken about before, where they won first place solo, first place relay, first place doubles, how much prize money would they win? Oh,
$40,000.
actually, it's oh, sorry. Yep. No, you're right. I'm counting the entire pool money.
Oh yeah, no.
40
So
$40,000. Okay.
one individual could win 40,000 for the triple crown.
Which is equivalent to around 62,000 Australian dollars. That's not a bad payday.
That's almost a down. That's basically a down payment on a house, right?
Not here in Australia these
Yeah,
days,
yeah, not really
unfortunately.
here. Get you part way.
Yeah, it's maybe an outback, but that's about it.
Were you about to say an outhouse?
Yeah, something like that. A halfway house.
There you go. Um, all right, so that's the prize money, guys. If you guys have any questions about the prize money, or what do you think? What do you think of the values? Do you
Yeah.
agree? Like it's amazing that it was able to grow this much in just year seven of the sport. Like I looked it up. CrossFit first launched. If you talk Hyrox's first launch was 2017, and we're
Mhm.
8 years away. CrossFit first launched in 2001, and their games in 2009. I don't remember what the prize money was for that one. Let me amend this. It was $5,000. The individual competitors received five
Okay.
thousand dollars. So, um, they're ahead of what is essentially kind of the comparative fitness sport without being uh, the same thing because obviously Hyrox is much more endurance, single event, racing focused instead of the way that CrossFit is. And I think Hyrox is definitely headed towards, if you listen to or you watch anything that Mo or Christian have been putting out in terms of their uh, news articles and stuff, like they are making a push for the Olympics, which
Yep.
could absolutely happen for Hyrox. So, and if you talk about the prize money for the CrossFit Games in their year 8 or year 7 of actual competition, meaning that it's been going on, I think that would have been 2013 because, yeah, you count 2007 and then going forward. So this seventh year, um,
Hmm.
they had $275,000 for first place. So this would have been like third place at the CrossFit Games, which is still pretty significant. But I think that was their first like really big year of money. Oh no, they won a quarter million year before that. So um, still, it's on its trajectory, and I think that some big sponsors, and I don't know if it'll ever get to that level because of where
Mm,
it's at. It's not a like I said, it's not a solo event because essentially, if you looked at what could it like Ronkovic earlier this year talked about a season sweep, right?
yeah.
So if he had done a season sweep, you look at 7,500 per major is 30,000 total plus the 30,000 there would have been $60,000 for a season sweep.
Right. Okay. I mean, that's what I was going to bring up. I mean, they haven't announced yet, and I'm sure they won't until after World Championships, the potential increases to those major, that major prize money as well for next season.
Oh yeah, and I mean we've seen it now the last two seasons. You can almost guess exactly what the World Championships prize money is going to be because it's about
Hmm.
one quarter of what the major ones are. So I'm sure they'll announce the major ones. I think they usually do that in August or September. They'll announce what the
Yeah.
prize monies for the majors are, and then you can always generally assume, at least the last 3 years, I think, that these major events or the championship events that you'd see the world championships be four times
Hmm.
the prize money there.
Yeah. It's exciting. It's exciting where it's going.
Yeah, it's really exciting coming from um, where we started and like because we went into our first one in season two in October 2019, like almost finished 6 years, about to be on year seven ourselves.
Yep.
It's amazing just where it's gone to and seeing what like it had started at into what it's grown into.
Oh, definitely. And how it's just going to continue to grow. As you say, I think they're doing that huge push towards the Olympics with, the medal tally and having, the country relay and things like that. I think they're quite obviously putting a real push towards that.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're really pushing towards the Olympic and how to qualify for the Olympics and be a sport there, as well as what that looks like moving forward and highlighting the athletes and creating these fantastic. Look at this ecosystem and this creativity that has spanned globally because of this sport. You know,
Hmm. Yeah,
so it really is super impressive to watch.
it definitely is. Let's get into previewing a bit of the Elite 15
Yeah.
individual
So
field. I know you did some
if
homework, Anthony.
Yeah, I did a little bit of homework, and also, if anybody really wants to, go head over to roxlife.com
Mm,
and take a look at Greg Williams' post about the Elite 15. He makes this post every year, and it's a great uh, it's a great post. He also posted up something like who is Alex Ronkovic and who is Lauren Weeks, uh, but these sorry, I don't have it pulled up. I'm just trying to figure. Oh,
no,
there it
that's
is.
all right. I've got
It's
it.
how
Actually, you know
fast
what?
and
Oh,
strong. How fast and
yeah.
strong are the elite athletes? And what's neat is he puts out a survey to the 15 men and 15 women and has them fill out what their uh, what their stats are basically. How fast do you run? How strong are you? And all these lots of really cool things. And then he dives into the the geography. Being from Europe, I see he puts 15 of the athletes are from Europe, nine from America, and six from Australia, Australasia.
Hmm.
So he had to put Europe first on something, right? Uh, and then but by country, you can see the country breakdown.
Yep.
Um, it's just really neat stuff that he does here, and he has these ages. Well, I'd like to jump into the ages real fast, just
Mm,
because it's super impressive that. Uh, so you're looking at the men and women, and the men span from being Jake Dearden at 26 years old at the time Worlds happens, all the way to Rich Ryan, who is 39, and that's the youngest and oldest. So it's a spread of about 13 years,
yep.
and within that, you have some 26, 27 year olds. Only on the men's side, only 5 men are below 30. So that'd be your Jake Dearden, Tim Vinish, Hide Wiersma, Rylan Shadag, and Dylan Scott. So 5 men below 30. and then everybody else is 31 to 39. So the average age of the men is 32 years old, and the median age of the men is also 32 years old. So pretty pretty tight field there. Like it seems that the men's field, at least, your prime is right around that 30 mark, and some people can
Yep.
hold on to it a little bit longer.
Yeah. And I mean, there's only 13 years between the youngest and the oldest. And I know we're going to get into the females, but just to bring that up quickly, like compared to the females, that's a relatively, tight gap in ages compared to them.
Yeah, for sure, it definitely is. Uh, and I believe that's a little bit different than last year, where the men, I think the men was 35 last year.
Hmm.
Was either the yeah the men's was 32 average and 35 median last year.
Okay.
So more on the older side. So it's getting a little bit younger.
Hmm. I mean, Anthony, like you just as a coach and having been around, this type of sport for so long, are you surprised, not surprised at that kind of
No, I think
average?
it's great when they come in. I mean, you got to think that the prime triathlete age is usually in the 30s, right? That like that's when they start getting into it, and you're seeing that with the men now. That like if the average age is 32, the median age is 32 on the men's side. You're looking at JK is right there at he's below the average right now. He's about to um, he still has a lot of years of career left ahead of him, and it's exciting to see that. And it's great to see these young people come in too. Like, I don't know if anybody knows that, what was it, a few weeks ago, the under 24 pro men's record was broken. Like, one of the
Okay.
first, or I believe it was either under 20 or something like that. The youngest person to ever go under an hour, like, happened. So, like, you're looking at people just breaking records over and over, and it skews a little younger.
Mhm.
Where that goes, we don't know, but it's exciting to see that there's a lot of career for these people that are coming in pretty young. Even us that found it later in life, there's still opportunity. I there's still three men on this list that are older than me, so I got a couple years if I ever wanted to try. Right? That's what you're saying.
It's funny because even I had that thought when I saw these ages from you. I thought, oh, I might be above the average for the females, but at least there's a fair few females that are still older than me. Maybe I've still got a shot.
Uh, so just on the men's side, I'm just gonna make a couple notes. The average of the men, or the spread of the men, is 13 years. The eldest male is Rich Ryan at 39. The youngest male is Jake Dearden at 26. Um, what's interesting to me is that there's actually at the extremes on the men's side. Usually, when you have an extreme, you have like one person there, and then there's a gap, and then like one person on the other
Mm,
end, and there's a gap. The men have two people at each of the extremes. So Jake Dearden and Tim Vinish are 26, while Rich Ryan and Tomas Turdvik are 39. So you
okay.
have like density within the spread. Uh, and I did it on my screen here, but I won't share. We don't need to do it. But you guys can pull up a box and whisker plot of it, and you'll see it's compact with the two extensions not going very far out because uh, the density of the men is centered around that like 30 to 32 range.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, you've got Graham Halliday, James Kelly, who has just said in the chat that he looked 41. I tend to agree. I might even say 45. You got Tom Rogers, Bo Wills. They're kind of all around that like 31, 32, 33 age gap. So yeah, I can see what you mean, Anthony.
Yeah, and this is actually really similar. I mean, just goes to show this is much more of an endurance sport because triathlon is very similar to this in terms of their
Hmm.
ages. Like when you start to see peaks, it's not as deep, but versus like CrossFit, which is usually a little younger, and like NFL football teams are usually a little younger, right?
Yep.
Like they have 24-year-old averages and stuff. And you get the rare person going up, but this is a sport that you can actually excel in later into life.
Absolutely. I mean, when I think of like our sports here in Australia, I think, our NRL, our AFL, I would say, I think AFL for some reason, we've kind of got two codes of football here, but I think for some reason that actually would produce, I might be wrong here, but a slightly um, older age than NRL. I could be wrong, but I would say I would take a guess that the average age for that would be 26, 25, 26 for those type of sports. So you're right, like this sport for some reason can really produce athletes of that little bit higher age.
Yeah, and you can see the what like the density as well in the sport here between the men at least. They have most of the people, is what I was talking about boxing, most people fall between that 27 to 33 range, right?
Hmm.
35 maybe. And then it's just like one person or one, maybe two at that extended range. When you get into the women's, it's different, right? The the lower end of the age actually does have that density where you have three women, Emily Dahmen, Lucy Proctor, and Joanna, who are between 20 and 22 years old. Then you have a 6 year gap before you have the density of, so there's those three, and then you have a 6 year gap, and then within 28 to 35, 36, that 8 years is most of the women, and then you have two other outliers. So like Amy Belavacqua being 51, she's an amazing anomaly up there that's able to retain and still compete at this level. And then Kate Davey at 40. So you have the extensions here on like a box and whisker plot. The grouping is around that 28 to 36 range, right? And that makes sense for the women who have an average age of 31. Um, but their spread is 31 years. So the average age of everybody is 31, but the difference between the youngest and oldest is 31 years as well. There's a whole person between them.
Crazy. And I was just thinking, Anthony, like if Amy wasn't in the female field, like
So,
those results would be really different.
well, well, yeah, they would, but also, even if you take out Amy, the gap is still 20 years. It's still
Hmm.
significantly larger than the men's, 150% of the men's, right?
Yeah.
So the gap between Emily and Kate Davey, like um, Kate's fantastic. I'm not like trying to push anybody's age or anything, but she's twice as old as Emily.
Yeah.
So like what this shows me a little bit is the endurance, like it kind of takes a little bit of time. You need to endure, basically. I don't know if it means it's harder to make it as a woman, or not a woman, as a younger athlete in the field of women, or if
Hmm.
it's harder to retain it as you get older. But this is encouraging for anybody in any of these age groups that, like, you're never really out of it.
Oh, definitely not. And I was trying to look, Anthony, just at the elite athletes who competed in Nice last year at the World Championships. I do think that age would have gotten younger this year in terms of, I don't think we had, the likes of a 20-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 22-year-old in the field last World Championships for the females.
Right. I believe last year, the women's median age was 31.5, and the average, I think, was also 31.
Okay.
Uh, and that's just because, the seven women that remade it were all a year younger, as well as like the new blood that came in, um, that made it this year. Melanie Marer, Ida
Hmm.
Matilde, those are kind of balanced out the Emily Dahmen and Lucy Proctors that made it.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
last year there was more density between that like 23 to 28 year olds. Whereas this year it's like you have your three that are 20, 21, 22, and then you have three women that are 28 and one age all the way up to 36 at a time. Like, so there's a lot of that middle density that stuck around.
Yeah, right. Yeah, which seems to be across both fields that, I guess, peak for both
Yeah.
genders.
So
Yeah.
it's around there, and obviously there's still much more that are able to retain it, and it's I think it's a testament. Just like you never know that any of these age groups, whether it's the young ones or every age group, basically 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, are all represented uh, in the women's elite field.
Hmm. Yep. Yeah, which is great to see. I mean, I wonder if we're going to eventually see, I don't know, I was going to say if we're going to eventually see that happen in the men's field. I don't know. I personally just think that male peak seems to be around that 30, 31, 32 age. And I think it may be a bit of a struggle for some of those younger males to come and break into the elite 15 while you've got such a strong group of male athletes who are very clearly in the peak of their fitness.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's you're what I'm curious about, and we'll see this like only time will tell, is if the younger athletes that are making it in, do they do they continue to every single year make it again, make it again, make it again, consistently? And you know, if they're able to, they're looking at 20-year careers in a sport like this. Like that's fantastic. 31-year careers if Emily Dahmen can match up to Amy Bevilacqua, and like that is that is a working life as a pro athlete, and usually that doesn't happen. There's not really another sport where you can be like, I'm going to be a pro athlete for 31 years.
Hmm.
But getting into an endurance sport young and just improving over that time is absolutely, like, probably with your pinnacle. If you're consistently doing it, your pinnacle could be in that late 30s,
Yeah, absolutely, it
early
could. And
40s. Like that's absolutely possible.
yeah, and I guess the other thing we might start to see, Anthony, is some of the younger athletes actually knock off and this is not to diss anyone's age, please don't think I'm saying this, it's just a fact of life that you might see some younger males, coming and knocking off some of those older males off the perch, as they kind of increase their fitness. And unfortunately, we all know as we get older, particularly, yeah, past I'm not going to call out a certain age, but I guess everyone's different. But
Well,
we might see that start to happen.
it's the tortoise and the hare, right? It's,
Hmm.
are you faster or are you consistent? Like, or are you able to endure? So which one is it going to be, and which one's going to win out? You know,
Yep.
um, in terms of like training, the best ability is availability. You know,
Yeah.
if you can put together year over year over year without injury, uh, you just get this massive density of training that's just going to let you improve.
Yep.
Uh, and that could be the difference between somebody having a long career and a short career.
Yeah, you're right, because it's not just about your fitness, it's actually about your body's ability to recover, for example. And
Yeah.
fortunately, the older you get, that goes a little bit more downhill.
Yeah, for sure does. But how long can you stave it off? And does consistency reward all the athletes?
Yeah.
So,
And hey, just going back to, I mean, just Greg's article, really liked he pulled out on the men's side, average average PB of the top 15 was 55:17. The women's side was an hour and 19, which I found, they're pretty good times. But I mean, we are looking at that's
for,
everyone's PBs.
for what?
This is for the Elite 15. So they're across the men's side, the average PB of the top 15 was 55:17, which is 53 seconds faster than last season.
Okay.
And then the women's side, it was an hour and 19, which is actually 2 minutes. Sorry, yeah, 2 minutes and 9 seconds faster than last season. That's a crazy improvement.
Yeah, the women's side has gotten so fast, uh, and I think it just plays to like the depth of field happening.
Oh,
So
absolutely. It does,
yeah,
particularly for the women.
uh,
And then he kind of also pulled out here just all of the Elite 15 athletes and their current personal best times in the pro division. I mean, a difficult these stats to look at because obviously all these times were run on various courses. So, but still kind of just interesting to, I guess, we're probably not surprised at that particular list for the females there and then the males as well.
no,
This is
I mean
over
I wouldn't be
time as
surprised with this
well.
list because some of
Yeah,
the like yes, there's other people that didn't qualify that have faster PBs than this, but these people have shown that they raced on the course against these other women and
yeah.
done what they did, right? Like they qualified. So they placed within that top three qualifying spot or the roll down spot. So, yeah, maybe their PB isn't as good as what like some people just saw on some of these other courses, but I mean, they still have the ability in a race to get the place they need to qualify.
Oh, definitely. They've raced their way in.
Yeah.
And I was just going to point out that, I mean, looking at these PBs, there is between Lauren Weeks and Ida, what's that, around about 8 minutes? No, sorry, 6 minutes in terms of their PB difference. The men's side is a little over 3 minutes.
Bernice, can you still hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can, but for some reason you've stopped recording, it says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can still hear you, but that's a bit odd.
Here, let me see if I could leave and come back in and you can keep
Okay,
going over that.
no worries. There you go, Anthony, we're back. Yeah, for anyone watching, I just found that kind of interesting. I guess the spread still of the females field compared to the males. But again, like Anthony said, like I mean, everyone's ran on different courses for these personal bests, so it's very hard to kind of compare these. And also, everyone's not going to run a personal best on the day in Chicago, so it'll be an interesting race to see. But no, I definitely recommend going and having a look at Greg's article. You know, as Anthony said, geography breakdown. He's even got like the height, like I was saying. I found that quite interesting with the median heights of the athletes on both the male and female side, with the shortest being the lovely Kate Davey. And JK, I can't believe you're the shortest. But there you go. You and Jake Deaton, 181 centimeters is little baby JK. Uh, and then he's even got the weights as well for, but he actually dives into all of their PBs. Let me just find it. He's got their running times, their ski erg and road times, and then their strength as well. So a lot of data in there, but just quite interesting to see. And a lot of the time he compares to, I guess, last season's Elite 15 field. So interesting just to see the comparison there.
Yeah. Um, Absolutely. I look forward to this article from Greg
Mm,
at Rocks Life every single year because I think it's great to see, like, he surveys these guys. They seem to answer all the questions and they talk about how much they're running each week, how much they're training each week, what their volume for both those are, and like, here's where their numbers are. So, as you can like jump in and see who has what numbers, at least that he published, and like how close are you, and you can see like, oh hey, I might be able to 3 rep max squat close to what these elite women and men are able to do, but I can't run the times they run. So like that's the great thing about hybrid training is it combines both your
yeah.
running speed, your running endurance, your muscular endurance, and strength. And it's not like blow you away numbers in terms of the strength. Like, they're not power lifters or anything, but they're pretty strong, especially for what they're able to do in other arenas.
It shows, Anthony. I mean, just looking at this with particularly the running volume here that I've got on the screen, like it shows that there really is. I guess, no one proven way to train for this sport. I think every athlete is different. I mean, I found this really quite interesting in terms of, your wife, Lauren, Lucy Proctor, and Vivian are three of the athletes with some of the highest running volume. Like they're running around 96 Ks or 60 miles a week. Whereas Linda Meyer, like she's only running, I say only, but like, 24 kilometers a week. Yet, Linda, she still finished third this season in a major. So, I found that really interesting for both sides of the field, just the variation in running volume. I was quite surprised at when Hyrox is predominantly a running race.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, I thought it was really interesting. But you don't know what the other volume she's doing is. Like
Exactly.
she's probably biking or being on the machines as well. And
Hmm.
it's just where they're putting their efforts into. I think that's super important.
Did this surprise you or not surprise you, Anthony, in terms of the median training volume was around 18 hours a week? Would you have expected it to be a little bit more?
No, I mean that's like pro level
Yep.
training volume. Absolutely. They I don't know if I'm being recorded again, but I'm just gonna keep going. Yeah, you know, they all train differently. The curious question is like 18 hours is about 2.5 hours per day in the gym if you're doing seven
Hmm.
days a week. A lot of these people are doing 6 days and taking a day off, so they're talking about 3 hours of work each day. Um, and usually it's pretty like demanding work. So no, that doesn't surprise me. 18 hours is a lot. Like you're not getting upwards of the. I'm sure some of them might be getting upwards of 25. Like
Yep.
everybody talks about Dylan doing a whole bunch of stuff, and he could be uh, up there. But that is 18 is reasonable
Yep.
for a pro level athlete. And if you're
Yeah.
splitting it into
No.
two sessions and you're spending an hour and a half and then an hour and a half before and after work, if you're working, like, yeah, that's considerable.
And Greg's even pointed out here, like that's still an increase from last year's article that he wrote, um, which was also last year, was an increase of the year before. So it sounds like the elite athletes are kind of increasing their ability. If they're getting a different amount of sleep, probably, every season. So for whatever reason, that seems to be continuously increasing.
Yeah. Yep. Um, yeah, it's getting more and more professional, I think, and I think more athletes they're gonna get smarter about how they're training, and maybe does that include their recovery time? Does that include the time that they're gonna spend doing mobilization or doing things that help them outside of the actual movement of training?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Anything else,
Yeah.
kind of, Anthony, on I guess, like the Elite 15 solo field that we wanted to touch on?
No, next week as we get closer to Worlds and especially the show that we have before Worlds, I think that we will dive deep into the individuals and into the doubles, and they should have the
Hmm.
relays announced by then. So let's look forward to next week doing that. But before we get into that, let's look at the upcoming races this weekend. So this weekend there are 4 races. So another weekend of 4 races. Hyrox just keeps pumping them out. So this weekend you have New York, Rimini, Riga, and Cardiff. So if you don't know, New York is the USA, Rimini is Italy, Cardiff is in the UK, and Riga is Latvia.
Hmm.
So the new country there, I think that's the first one in Riga. I went through and I tried to figure out the guys. If I miss your name here, I'm sorry. I went through all the start lists for each of these events and pulled out names that I immediately recognized. So if I'm sure somebody else may win besides who I have here, but I just put out some athletes to watch that you might see. So in Cardiff, we have Affin Humphreys and Tony Ravel. Affin has been part of some of the Elite 15 major races this season. Tony Ravel was paired with Kieran Parkinson, and they're the guys that ran pro doubles in both Australia and Miami, taking fourth in both races. And then on the women's side, Gede Foster. I believe Gede is the Red Bull rep on the women's side, so she'll be also racing in Cardiff. And that looks like an exciting and awesome venue to be running inside a stadium like that.
Yeah, that does look amazing.
Uh, and then in Rimini, so let's move over to Italy. In Rimini, you have Richard Heineck. Richard Heineck is a
Mhm.
OCR racer. I believe he won the world championships for OCR within the last couple of years. You also have Eugenio Bianchi. Eugenio is also racing on an Elite 15 doubles team at Worlds. So he'll be throwing down. You have Luca Caviccioli. I believe he broke 60 in his last race. And Hugo Hugemark, who is the captain of, I think, the Swedish team in the relay. And Eugenio is also racing with Bo Wills in the Elite 15 doubles and is on Team Italy. So exciting to watch there. I'm sorry I didn't recognize any of the women in Rimini, so I don't have that listed. In Riga, interesting person that I saw on the list. I don't know a whole bunch of names over there, but in Riga you have Oldis Upniks. Oldis was this year in the CrossFit Open. He was the first place male in Europe, and he was
Mhm.
ninth worldwide in the CrossFit Open this year. He's made it to the CrossFit Games in 2019, 2021, 2022, and 2023. Uh,
Okay.
so he's running his first Hyrox in Riga. And then you move on over to New York. And again, just went through. You had Samuel Haber, Kevin Gregory, and Sam Cornier. Sam Cornier is also a CrossFit Games athlete that appears to be running in his first Hyrox race. And then I believe there are going to be a lot of people at these races, but no, I'm not sure a lot of the elites or the pros are actually racing in New York. Uh,
Okay.
Interesting thing about New York that we saw, they changed up the course to
Mhm.
accommodate a smaller area. It's going to be completely covered from like the elements, so you won't get rained on at least, because it is an outdoor event at a pier. But in New York, they are having you push and pull 3 times down and back instead of two. So the length of the push and the length of the pull is only 8.3 meters instead of the normal 12 and a half. And so you have to go down, back, down, back, down, back in order to finish the sled push and the sled pull here, which is pretty interesting to me.
Yeah, it'll be a good one to watch.
Yeah. Um, so those are the races coming up. There's also after this going to be World Championships in 2 weeks. The 2 weeks from today is the news conference we talked about, the press conference, and then after that is day one on Thursday,
Mhm.
day two on Friday, and then day three on Saturday, and day four on Sunday. And we'll get live streams of those, guys. If you want to go to HYROX World to click on those live streams and get notifications on, it's uh, it's coming up. It's getting pretty close.
Yeah, it definitely is. It won't be long. I was thinking, Anthony, maybe we do our live show after the press conference. You said what,
Yeah.
that was about 2 p.m. your local time on that
So
Wednesday?
Wednesday, June 11th, the press conference is
Mhm.
at 2 p.m. local time for me.
Right.
And guys, if you go to YouTube and look up Hyrox World, you can see the scheduled video release for the live press conference that they have out, and you can just turn notifications on. Don't know what the setup or how that's going to go yet, but that's exciting to see that they're going to be interviewing some of the elite athletes,
It
and they're really
definitely is.
promoting, yeah, really promoting the elite athletes here and giving these people a platform to actually build the sport on because, they bring a lot of attention to the sport.
Yeah, which is great to see. I was looking up just before that. I think anyone, I mean, I'm going to be over there myself anyway in Chicago, but any Australians watching or listening, the time of like majority of the elite races, it'll be around morning time, like around 8 a.m., 9 a.m. for us. So that kind of works out well for any Aussies watching,
Yeah.
wanting to watch the sport.
Yep. And I believe that the news conference will be at 7 a.m. for you on Wednesday or on
Okay.
Thursday.
Okay.
Thursday?
That's not too
Yeah.
bad.
7 a.m. on Thursday next 2 weeks from now.
Weeks now. I will be already there on the ground in Chicago.
Yep.
Exciting.
All right. We'll see
Thanks,
if we can
Anthony.
figure out why I wasn't being recorded, but thank
Right.
you
I think
very
I
much, Bernice.
did check, and I think you were still coming up on YouTube, so it might just be something with this platform, but
Okay.
we will wait and see.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thanks for listening. And if you have any comments, like feel free to comment on Spotify or message us on our Instagram, Beyond the Grid Hybrid. And yeah, let us know what you'd want to hear about.
Absolutely.
Thanks.